So, hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I have the honor to invite Eddie Zhao, who's a university student at, I believe, Waterloo. Is that right, in
Yep.
Canada?
Yep.
Could you please introduce yourself a little?
All right. Hi. My name is Eddie. I went to Tehran High School, same as this person over here. And right now I'm studying computer science at the University of Waterloo.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So first off, what made you choose your current major?
Well, it was a combination of factors. Uh, to begin with, I always wanted to major something that was challenging, that allowed me to solve problems. And that doesn't really narrow it down. A lot of majors, let you do that. I was originally thinking of studying med stuff, or mostly engineering. Some schools I applied like psychology, sociology, but in the end, I ended up getting an offer from University of Waterloo for computer science. I think this is actually my only computer science thing I applied to, and I thought, wait, this is a pretty good. This is a thing that I think I could enjoy. And I did a lot of research, and I was like, this is what I want to do. I
Mhm.
could give you the pros and cons of like every other route that I thought I wanted to take, but didn't end up taking. It might go into like it's not that interesting.
Well, I mean, was there like another one that was like serious competitor to computer science that you like
For a
considered?
while, it was like trying to get into like a medical program, doing pre-med, going into med. And I think ultimately the reason I didn't like I even over the summer in high school I did like a kind of like a small internship to do with that. But in the
Mhm.
end I think I chose differently because I realized that blood gives me an ick. I get an ick from blood. So I was like, maybe I lean towards the more like engineering, computer science side of STEM. And
Mhm.
between engineering and computer science, I felt ultimately computer science gave me more flexibility in what I wanted to pursue. There's a lot more paths that I could go into. If I chose engineering, I'm studying here in Canada. I'd have to choose a program from the very beginning and kind of just stick with that,
Mhm.
not a lot of room to explore.
And what exactly does that mean, like choosing a program? Does it mean like choosing a school? Like what exactly?
Uh, so it works differently depending on the country. First, let
Mhm.
me explain. Like in Canada, basically, every school has a bunch of majors, right? And each major itself is like a program. And you apply not to the school, but for the specific program. So, for example, I applied to Waterloo for engineering, for math, and for CS, and I got
Mhm.
like accepted or rejected from a bunch of different like programs. You can get accepted into the school, but it would only be for like the specific programs you apply.
So, as a uni student, what does your average day look like? What kind of classes are you taking?
I feel like my average day would be a little different just given my environment. I don't know, maybe not so different. Maybe a lot more people are like this than I thought. I don't have a daily schedule.
Oh,
A lot of the times it's one day I go to lectures for like a few hours and then do work for the next 48 hours straight and then sleep for like 20 hours and then wake up and repeat, kind of like that. Of course, that's because of the specific program I'm in. It's kind of it's a lot of work, but it's not impossible to get like a good balance in your work life. Um, for me personally, because I'm in like computer science, I don't have that many lecture hours. I
mhm.
have like a regular amount of lecture hours. If you were going into something like engineering, you'd have way more lecture hours. And
Mhm.
most of my time is spent working on long assignments, right? And that's this kind of structure is going to be different for every different major.
Right. And would that be like a challenge to you, like just having so much work every single day? Or would you say that, maybe doing more hands-on stuff during the lectures are more challenging?
I feel like for me personally, I like having short lectures and just having a long time to work on stuff on my own. Um, I feel like if I had like 8 hours of lectures a day, I would not be able to pay attention. That
Okay.
sounds horrible, especially because these lectures are just sometimes I like that I'm able to learn at my own pace. I can like make kind of my own hours when I want to do a lot of studying, you know.
So what was that experience like for like that specific company?
It was like a really small startup at my school. It was basically I was working like a software developer job, and it
Mhm.
was basically two senior developers and five co-op students from the school also doing software development. Uh, this is again, this is like a you like there's a wide range of types of jobs you could have. Like my job before this was at like a big company, and it was like very big company hierarchy, etc. This one was like way more free form because it was just seven of us, and the boss was like kind of laissez-faire, hands off.
Mhm.
Uh, I would say I learned a lot in this experience.
Yeah. So moving on, let's talk about ChatGPT. Which familiar are you with ChatGPT? Have you like used it yourself?
Pretty familiar.
You'd say you're more like worried about just having a stable job, right?
Yeah, I would say that for now I am. Right.
Mhm.
For now, I'm more worried about getting a job post graduation, which I feel like most university students are worried about. I feel like this is the main concern for a lot of uni students. Is just, man, I would love to have a job after graduating. Another
Okay, fair.
subsection probably worried about. I hope I get into my master's program. You know, same
Mhm.
same.
Yeah. So moving on, let's talk about ChatGPT, which I know has been
Oh,
a
good
very hot
lord.
topic like the past months, like half a
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
Gets into the debate I wanted to bring up. So a while back, actually like a long while back, I saw
Mm-hmm.
this paper that was like a published research paper, and the
Yep.
co-author was ChatGPT, and that
Oh,
raised a lot of debate. Both like this because it was like a biology paper too. It raised a lot of debate in the science community, and also some publisher called Springer Nature. They banned
yeah, yeah, yeah,
listing
yeah, yeah, yeah.
ChatGPT as co-author. So, what's your opinion about that?
Oh, man, that's a complex topic for greater minds than I. Uh, I would say, okay. I read this headline the other day saying
Mhm.
how ChatGPT gives better patient care than 79% of doctors or something. And it's just stuff like that both scares me and also makes me feel like it's about time.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I feel like ChatGPT, not specifically ChatGPT, but AI chatbots, AI tools that like companies and governments are going to have their hands on soon enough. It's really
Mhm.
going to shake up a lot of things, like a lot of things.
Right.
It's going to, personally, I feel like it's going to be like okay. I mean, it might be. It's not my place to really say. I'm thinking it's going to be like another industrial revolution kind of thing. It's gonna
Mhm.
a lot of jobs are gonna be replaced. There's gonna be a lot of upheaval in society. It's not gonna happen like soon. It's not gonna be next 5 year thing. It's gonna be over the next 30 years. Shit is gonna slow. Sorry for cursing. Stuff is gonna slowly get like overturned until you know most things are gonna be unrecognizable. Like small
Uh-huh.
jobs, like data entry jobs and jobs that require that like you would see like the current iteration of ChatGPT doing are going to get as the technology becomes cheaper and cheaper for companies and governments to use, it's going to be slowly replaced. I would say manual jobs are going to have a lot longer before they get replaced. You know,
Mhm.
even stuff like software developer, like the field I'm going into, I'm worried.
Yeah.
I don't know the future and whether it's 5, 10, 20 years before some form of AI tool reduces the necessity of software developers by whatever significant margin. Until then, I'm going to do my best and try to keep up with the wave.
Yeah. That's a good answer actually. Wow, that was very deep. And
Thank you.
I don't think it's above you to answer questions like this because I think everyone should have an opinion,
Oh,
especially if
yeah,
you're in CS, you know?
for sure. For sure. I have my opinion. I'm not passing any legislation on it, though, personally.
Oh yeah.
I'll vote for legislation. I'm not
Mhm.
creating it.
Mhm. So, I mean, you kind of said this already, but use ChatGPT yourself,
Mhm.
to write your assignments. But do you think schools, like high school, middle school, they should be open about letting their students use ChatGPT?
I feel like eventually they'll have to be
Right.
because, like, think about it like this: what algebra class does not allow you to use a TI-84, right? You are required to buy. You have a TI-84. I had a TI-84,
Mhm.
right? They're going to require you to have the next technology soon enough. It's going to take a long time for systems to change, but schools are going to have to adapt to using tools like this because I feel like using tools like this uh, going into the future is going to be like an important skill,
Mhm.
right? For whatever reasons, personal reasons, career reasons, professional reasons, it's going to be a skill that is going to be like sought after, right? Or maybe not even
Right.
sought after, but like a baseline, even like how Googling is now a baseline skill that everybody has. You have to know how to Google something, right? 20 years ago, what is a Google? Like, how do we, and to be fair, Google is a much less disruptive kind of technology. It was disruptive, but uh, yeah, I feel like eventually schools will have to adapt. Maybe I would say make kids write essays in the classroom timed more if you want to test
Mhm.
the writing. Uh, yeah.
Okay. Actually, could you elaborate a little more on that word you use, disruptive? Why do you think AI is becoming more disruptive?
It's because it has the potential it has the potential to change a lot for a lot of people. It has
Mhm.
already, specifically in like the software development field, increased productivity of like coders, programmers, software developers significantly. Um, I use ChatGPT. I also use GitHub Copilot, another tool to help me code and do like whenever I'm coding like my own thing or for school. Uh, and it's just it's disruptive because it gives you an edge in a competition everybody's in.
Mhm.
And if there is not a level playing field in like a job market, it's simply going to be like a mess, right?
Right.
So I feel like in school, kids who use AI smartly are just going to get better grades because that's just
Mhm.
simply how, like, if you can use it and then it's not considered cheating, it's like a really good tool to help you. If you do it smartly.
Mhm.
Like, of course, you shouldn't be like. There's no way to replace like actually learning material with just
Yeah.
relying on an AI bot, but like doing the menial stuff with it will free up a lot of time for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's true. And I feel like it definitely brings in the question of what does it really mean to be a good student? Like if
Mm-hmm.
we can all write good essays now, then maybe we should be grading these students based on something else completely different, you know?
Yeah. I feel like it's still valuable to have like the base skills that school teaches you. You take AP Lang and you learn how to write. Uh, like eventually, I don't know if this is going to be the case, but maybe one day nobody has to write an email. They type in a prompt, and then that email is written for them. Nobody has to write like a cover letter. Type it into a prompt and it gives it to you. So maybe the skill of writing will become more and more niche. You know, just like 100 years ago, calculators used to be humans. They used to be just people sitting in a room doing math. And then as soon as the computer was invented, they lost their jobs. They computing, knowing how to compute significant amounts of data by hand was just no longer a necessary skill for anyone really to have. You have so many digitized programs to do it for you. Why would you need to do it? And maybe that is the attitude that will take towards writing. Just specifically what ChatGPT does right now.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like we're bound to move on and evolve in some way. So I don't think we should be worried. But of course, there's going to be that one period when people are losing their jobs, people are freaking out. So
Yep.
I do understand why everyone's like so
Yeah.
what's the word for it? Worried, I guess. Worried
Word.
about AI.
I think in the long term, what I and maybe you and maybe people younger than you and some people older than me, I feel like what we're going to go through is ultimately going to be forgotten. It's going to be a footnote in history. It's going to be a transition, right? Nobody's going to think, oh, these people lost their jobs. Just like how nobody is going to think, oh, all those horses when cars were invented are going to lose their jobs. Nobody thinks about that. When have you thought about that horse that had a job and then didn't have a job? You know,
Yeah.
and that's going to be us. It's going to be difficult for us to navigate, but ultimately, I think, you know, if I were to be unselfish, I feel like this is a good thing overall.
Wrap up this interview. Last two questions. Actually, no, last question. Back to your major, back to computer science. What
Mhm.
is the best advice you would give to any high schooler out there who wants to go into CS as a major?
I will say, um, before I went to university, I had no knowledge, zero knowledge on computer science. I did not take a single programming course. I didn't take AP computer science. Nothing. Could not tell you a single thing about coding. And I would say if you know that's what you want to do, get a head start, learn it early, make your first 2 years of uni a little easier. Um, yeah, just if you want to do it, get ahead. You know, you don't
Hmm.
even have to do anything major. Just take a look at how a programming language works. What's a variable? How do you do a for loop? You know, what is generally how do you make a program? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like doing that will significantly benefit you, but be prepared. Be prepared to work long hours. In I feel most places you'll go to if you want to study computer science or software engineering, be prepared to
Mhm.
work long hours. I don't maybe this is just exclusive to me, but be prepared to be up at 4 a.m. studying for an exam or trying to cram in that assignment, you know. And I will
Yeah.
say, grades aren't everything. Grades aren't
Hmm.
everything. Focus on your life, even if it's hard. Focus on living the life that you want to live.
That's right. And that's a great way to end this interview. Thank you so much, Eddie, for coming.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
anytime.
And that would be the end of the interview.